Hi, I'm Jacqueline Fisher, a trauma-informed therapist, educator, and the founding CEO of Focus First Counseling and Education, Inc. I help people turn pain into purpose. Welcome back to the Focus First Educational Series. This educational series is brought to you by Focus First Counseling and Education, Inc., a nonprofit organization committed to improving community wellness and made possible through the generous support of the RAP Foundation, whose mission is to strengthen nonprofits and improve community health throughout our region. Together, we're creating conversations that reduce stigma, promote wellness, and provide practical, evidence-informed tools that support emotional and mental health. In our last session, we explored how brain health and the gut microbiome influence our emotions, stress responses, and overall well-being. Today, we're taking that conversation one step further. We're going to explore the relationship between nutrition and mental wellness. We'll look at how the foods we eat, the way we prepare them, the traditions we inherit, and the relationships we build around food all influence our emotional health. When many people hear the word nutrition, they immediately think about diets, calories, carbohydrates, or restrictions. But when I talk about nutrition, I'm really talking about relationship. Our relationship with our bodies, our relationship with nourishment, our relationship with the people we gather around the table with, and ultimately, our relationship with ourselves. Every meal provides our bodies with biological information. The foods we eat influence hormones, inflammation, energy production, immune function, and the complex communication taking place between our digestive system and our brain. But nourishment is more than just nutrients. The experience of eating also matters. How we eat, how quickly we eat, whether we're constantly distracted, whether we feel rushed, whether we're eating alone or sharing a meal with people we love. All of these experiences communicate something to our nervous system. When we slow down and create moments of safety and connection around meals, we're supporting more than digestion. We're supporting regulation. In trauma-informed care, we recognize that wellness often begins when the body feels safe enough to receive nourishment again. That nourishment may come through food. It may come through supportive relationships. It may come through rest or through meaningful moments of connection. Wellness is built through relationships. Our relationship with our body, our relationship with our mind, our relationship with the earth, and our relationship with one another. As gastroenterologist Dr. Emerin Mayer explains in The Mind-Gut Connection, the digestive system and the brain are deeply interconnected through a continuous network of communication. Scientists call this relationship the gut-brain axis. It's a remarkable communication system connecting the brain, digestive tract, immune system, hormones, and the vagus nerve. One of the fascinating discoveries researchers have made is that approximately 90% of the body's serotonin is produced within the digestive system. Most of that serotonin remains in the gut, where it plays important roles in digestion. At the same time, researchers continue discovering how the health of our digestive system influences mood, cognition, sleep, and emotional well-being through multiple pathways, including immune signaling, microbial activity, and communication along the vagus nerve. Mental health is never determined by one single factor. Our experiences matter, our relationships matter, our environment matters, our genetics matter, and our physical health matters too. Rather than separating the mind from the body, we're learning that they work together as one beautifully interconnected system. I invite you to exhale deeply for just a moment. Think about a meal that made you feel genuinely nourished, not simply full, but comforted, grounded, cared for. Perhaps it's your grandmother's soup, fresh tortillas around the family table, a holiday meal, a favorite recipe shared between multiple generations. Or maybe it's a quiet breakfast you prepared for yourself after a difficult season in your life. What made that meal meaningful? Was it the ingredients? Or was it the feeling of belonging that surrounded it? Sometimes the most nourishing part of a meal isn't what's on the plate. It's the love that accompanies it. As we reconnect those experiences, we begin reconnecting something modern life often separates: the mind and the meal. I often remind people I get to work with that eating well isn't about perfection. It's about compassion. Every opportunity to nourish yourself is an opportunity to practice self-care, not because you're trying to earn health, but because you're already worthy of receiving it. For thousands of years, people understood nourishment long before nutrition labels, calorie counts, or food pyramids. They learned by observing the land. They paid attention to the changing seasons. They noticed which foods provided strength, which plants offered comfort, and which traditions helped families thrive across generations. Food wasn't something to consume. It was part of daily life, part of community, part of ceremony. Preparing a meal was often an act of generosity. Sharing food strengthened relationships. Harvesting from the land inspired gratitude. These traditions remind us that nourishment has always been about more than meeting physical needs. It has also been about belonging. When we think about mental wellness today, it's worth asking ourselves what we've gained through convenience and what we've lost through disconnection. Many of us no longer know where our food comes from. We eat quickly, we eat while working, we eat while driving, we eat while scrolling through our phones. Sometimes we finish an entire meal without ever truly experiencing it. Our bodies notice that. Our nervous systems notice that. Creating moments of presence around food doesn't require expensive ingredients or complicated recipes. Sometimes it begins by simply sitting down, taking one slow breath, offering gratitude, and allowing ourselves permission to receive nourishment. Many indigenous cultures have long taught that caring for the land and caring for the people are deeply connected. While every culture has its own traditions and teachings, many share a common understanding that our well-being is inseparable from the well-being of the natural world. Here in Blythe, we're surrounded by a remarkable desert landscape. At first glance, the desert may appear harsh, but if you spend time here, it teaches a different lesson. Life exists everywhere. Roots stretch deep beneath the surface. Seeds wait patiently for the right conditions. Plants adapt. Water is treasured. Nothing is wasted. Nature reminds us that resilience doesn't always happen quickly. Sometimes growth is happening beneath the surface long before anyone can see it. I think healing works much the same way. As a therapist, I've watched people become discouraged because they don't immediately see change. But healing isn't always visible in the beginning. Sometimes important work is happening quietly beneath the surface. Just like a seed developing roots before it ever breaks through the soil, that doesn't mean growth isn't happening. It means growth is preparing itself. One of the projects closest to my heart has been helping develop a community garden, a safe, welcoming place where we can grow fruits, vegetables, herbs, and flowers while growing something much bigger. It will be a place for growing curiosity, connection, confidence. Children can discover where food comes from, families spending time together outdoors, people learning new skills, neighbors sharing ideas, strangers becoming familiar faces. A garden becomes a place where community grows alongside the plants. It reminds me that healing often happens the same way, one small act at a time, one relationship at a time, one seed at a time. Researchers have also become increasingly interested in what they call the soil-gut connection. Healthy soil contains diverse microorganisms that help plants flourish. Likewise, a diverse and healthy gut microbiome helps support many important functions within the human body. Although they're different ecosystems, both remind us that life depends on balance, diversity, and connection. When we care for the soil, we strengthen our food. When we nourish our bodies, we support the complex systems that help us think, feel, and function. Everything is connected. Our ancestors understood that connection through observation, tradition, and lived experience. Today, modern science continues discovering new ways to understand many of those same relationships. The language may be different. The methods may be different. But both invite us to slow down, pay attention, and remember that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. Every seed we plant, every healthy meal we prepare, every family recipe we preserve, every child we teach to grow something with their own hands becomes an investment in the well-being of the next generation. When we nourish ourselves with intention, we're not only caring for today, we're helping people create healthier tomorrows. Now let's take what we've been talking about and make it practical. If our brains and bodies are constantly communicating with one another, then it makes sense that the nutrients we provide our bodies influence how we think, feel, and function. Our brains are incredibly active organs. Although they make up only a small percentage of our body weight, they require a tremendous amount of energy to perform billions of tasks every single day. They help us solve problems, learn new information, manage emotions, build relationships, recover from stress, and create memories that last a lifetime. Just like every other organ in the body, our brains rely on consistent nourishment to do their jobs well. While there is no single food that can prevent anxiety or cure depression, research continues to show that overall dietary patterns can influence brain health, emotional well-being, and cognitive function. In other words, it's not about finding one superfood. It's about building consistent habits over time. Let's look at a few nutrients that researchers have found play important roles in supporting brain health. Omega-3 fatty acids help maintain brain cell membranes and support communication between nerve cells. They're found in foods like salmon, sardines, trout, walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. B vitamins, especially B6, B12, and folate, help our bodies produce neurotransmitters that play important roles in mood, memory, and energy. Foods like leafy greens, beans, lentils, eggs, dairy products, and whole grains are wonderful sources. Magnesium is involved in hundreds of processes throughout the body, including muscle function, nerve signaling, and energy production. Many people enjoy foods like pumpkin seeds, almonds, spinach, black beans, and dark chocolate as natural sources of magnesium. Our digestive system also benefits from foods that support a healthy and diverse microbiome. Yogurt with live cultures, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, and other fermented foods can contribute beneficial bacteria that help maintain a healthy digestive environment. Fiber is equally important because it provides nourishment for many of those beneficial microbes already living inside us. Beans, vegetables, whole grains, fruit, nuts, seeds. These everyday foods help support both digestive and overall health. Color matters too. When you fill your plate with a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables, you're also providing your body with a wide range of vitamins, minerals, and naturally occurring plant compounds that help protect our cells from everyday wear and tear. One of the simplest goals we can set is to eat the rainbow, not because every meal has to be perfect, but because variety gives our bodies more opportunities to receive what they need. Hydration is another piece that's often overlooked. Even mild dehydration can affect concentration, energy, mood, and memory. Sometimes when we think we're hungry, our bodies may actually be asking for water. Keeping a water bottle nearby throughout the day is one small habit that can make a meaningful difference. I also want to encourage you to let go of the idea that healthy eating has to be expensive or complicated. Some of the most nourishing meals are also some of the simplest. Fresh fruit, homemade soup, roasted vegetables, whole grain toast with avocado, rice and beans, foods that have nourished families for generations. Healthy eating doesn't have to look perfect to be meaningful. It simply needs to become part of a consistent rhythm of caring for yourself. One of my favorite reminders comes from psychiatrist and nutrition specialist Dr. Uma Naidu, who encourages us to think of food as information. Every meal is sending messages throughout the body. Some messages support healing. Some contribute to inflammation. Many simply provide the energy we need to move through our day. The beautiful part is that every meal gives us another opportunity to begin again. Every breakfast, lunch, dinner, or snack, each one is a fresh opportunity to make one caring choice for ourselves. That's one of the things I love most about nutrition. It's not about guilt. It's not about perfection. It's about recognizing that small choices, repeated consistently, can support our health in meaningful ways over time. As we come to the end of today's lesson, I hope you're beginning to see nutrition through a different lens. Nutrition isn't about chasing perfection. It isn't about following the latest trend. And it certainly isn't about judging ourselves for the choices we've made in the past. It's about learning to care for ourselves with greater intention. Every meal is another opportunity to nourish your body. Every glass of water is another opportunity to support your brain. Every moment you slow down long enough to truly experience your food is an opportunity to remind your nervous system that you are safe enough to receive nourishment. How we eat matters. When we rush through meals, eat while distracted, or remain under constant stress, our bodies can stay in what's often called the fight, flight, or freeze response. In that state, our brains and bodies are focused on protection rather than digestion. Our nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do, helping us respond to what it perceives as danger. If our bodies think we're running from a threat, they're not going to prioritize digesting lunch. Instead, Blood flow and energy are redirected toward the muscles, heart, and lungs to prepare us to fight, flee, or freeze. Digestion naturally becomes a lower priority. But when we slow down, take a deep breath, express gratitude, and become present with our food, we activate our parasympathetic nervous system, often called our rest and digest response. As our bodies recognize that we're safe, they can shift their energy away from protection and toward digestion, restoration, and repair. That simple shift doesn't just support the digestive system, it reminds our nervous system that in this moment, we are safe enough to receive nourishment. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do before a meal isn't changing what's on our plate. It's changing the state of our nervous system. I'd like to invite you to try something with me. Next time you sit down to eat, before taking your first bite, pause for just a few seconds. Take one slow breath. Notice the colors on your plate. Notice the aroma. Offer a moment of gratitude for the people who grew your food, prepared your meal, or made it possible for you to reach your table. Then take your first bite slowly. Notice the texture, the flavor, how your body responds. Mindfulness doesn't require extra time. It simply asks us to be fully present in the moment we're already living. Before we finish today, I'd like to leave you with a final thought. Many of us carry around guilt with food. We tell ourselves we've made too many unhealthy choices, that we've failed too many times, or that it's too late to make a difference. I want to gently challenge those beliefs. Our bodies are remarkably resilient. Every nourishing choice we make is an opportunity to care for ourselves in the present moment, not to erase the past, but to invest in the future. Wellness isn't built on guilt. It's built on compassion. If you enjoy a piece of birthday cake with your family, enjoy it. If you're celebrating a holiday meal, celebrate it. If you prepare a favorite family recipe, receive it with gratitude. Food is more than nutrients. It's also culture, it's memory, it's tradition, and celebration. And sometimes it's comfort. Mental wellness isn't about eliminating joy from our lives. It's about creating a relationship with food that supports both our physical health and our emotional well-being. Rather than asking, was this meal perfect? Perhaps we can begin asking, did this meal nourish me? Sometimes nourishment comes from the nutrients on our plate. Sometimes it comes from the laughter around the table. And often it comes from both. I'd like to leave you with a few questions to reflect on this week. What does nourishment truly mean to you? When do you feel most nourished and cared for? And what is one small change you could make this week that would better support your mind, your body, or your spirit? Remember, there isn't one right answer. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is awareness, because awareness is often the first step towards lasting change. As you move through the coming week, I encourage you to choose one simple act of nourishment each day. Maybe it's preparing a meal at home, trying a new fruit or vegetable, drinking a little more water, sharing dinner with someone you love, growing herbs on your windowsill, or simply slowing down long enough to enjoy the meal that's already in front of you. Small choices matter, small moments matter, and you matter. Thank you for joining me for today's lesson. I hope it has encouraged you to see food not simply as fuel, but as one of the many ways we care for our minds, our bodies, and our communities. Here at Focus First Counseling and Education, we believe healing grows through knowledge, connection, and compassion with consistent acts of care. Thank you to the RAP Foundation for making this educational series possible and for investing in the health and well-being of communities throughout our region. In our next lesson, we'll explore meditation and brain frequencies. We'll learn how different brain wave states influence attention, learning, relaxation, creativity, and emotional regulation, and how simple mindfulness practices can help us intentionally support our mental well-being. Until then, take good care of yourself, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, every small act of care is another step toward turning pain into purpose. I'm Jacqueline Fisher. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in our next lesson. To learn more or connect with our work, you can visit ffcei.org. We're here, and we believe in your healing.